Let's cut across to breaking news that's coming in right now of an encounter that's underway between forces and terrorists in Rajouri. 2 terrorists have been gunned down. This looks like, from the information we're picking up right now, there was a suicide attack by terrorists. 3 army jawans have also been killed in this particular encounter. It's happened 25 kilometers from Rajouri. Let's take this across to Ashraf Ani for more details. Ashraf, this looks like a Fidaiin strike that's been reported in Rajouri.
This is army camp in the Darhal area of Rajouri district in the Pir Panjal range, where this Fidaiin attack was attempted by a group of terrorists, and they tried to enter the army camp of the Rajputana Rifles in the area, where alert sentry fired on the group, and in that exchange of fire, 2 terrorists had been killed so far, and still whole area has been cordoned off. In fact, additional troops from the armed forces had reached to the spot, and whole area has been cordoned off. Ahead of the Independence Day, it is a major security challenge for the security forces. There were the intelligence inputs that these kind of terror attacks could be carried out in the periphery of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly in the areas near the line of control. And one of such attack has been witnessed today in the Darhal area of Rajouri on an army camp. But the alert troops from the Indian Army have already cordoned off this whole area, and 2 soldiers are also injured in this attack, and 2 terrorists had been so far eliminated by the firing by security forces in that particular area of Rajouri.
What's the information we have right now, Ashraf? Because there are some reports that suggest that these terrorists actually tried to enter an army camp, that they tried to cross over the fence and jump into the army camp, which is when they were spotted by our forces?
Absolutely, that is the way and modus operandi of any suicide attack or a Fidaiin attack in the Kashmir Valley or in the Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, this was an attempt by the armed terrorists to enter inside the army camp and then target the security forces inside the camp. But before they succeeded in reaching any kind of barrack of the security forces, the alert troops on the sentry or the gate of the army camp have fired on these infiltrators, we can say, or terrorists, and in which exchange of fire 2 terrorists had been killed. But so far there are not clear information is coming from the army headquarters and from the army sources whether there is any more such terrorists inside the army camp, or they have been zeroed in outside the army camp. Those information are not coming up, but so far what the information army has given is that 2 terrorists had been killed in this terror attack and 2 others are injured.
Also, Ashraf, the 2 terrorists who have been killed in the exchange of fire, so we are to assume right now that this was an attempted suicide attack. Yes, it wasn't successful because our forces stopped it.
Absolutely, Akshita. Basically, when there is any kind of operation by the security forces or the police, they chase the militants or the terrorists in those kind of encounters. This was a kind of an attempt, but these terrorists tried to enter the army camp, and they were fired upon by the security forces, in which 2 of them had been killed so far, and 2 army soldiers are also injured. That means there was exchange of fire, and still, as I said, the area has been cordoned off. But there was intelligence input with the security agencies, particularly with the army, that these kind of terror strikes could be carried out by the terrorist groups in different parts of the country, particularly in the areas near LOC. A thing comes out from these that will be clear when the identifications and the search of these terrorists will be carried out, what kind of weapon they are carrying, whether they have infiltrated last week, they were already in the area, because the area is not too far from the line of control. In fact, Poonch is known, the same district which is the next district, is known for the infiltration. There is a lot of control with the Pakistan. Also, there is line of control in the Rajouri district, and that will be the big question which for some time, whether these Fidaiin attackers have or they were already in the forest area. We may remember last year, not far from this place, there was a massive operation launched by the army that was carried out in the Mender area of the Poonch district, or more than 1 month in that particular infiltration. That terrorists managed to kill at least 12 security forces plus one officer. But there was not any clue about those terrorists in the area after that massive operation in the densely forested area. Same is the situation here. It is the area which is completely hilly and surrounded by the dense forests. So, still many challenges for the security forces, whether this group was only of these two terrorists who have been killed, or there are many more members in the group still hiding in the periphery. Also, there is another modus operandi which has been adopted for the years by the terror groups, that they divert also attention of the security forces. They kind of attack at one place, then strike on the second place. That is also in the minds of the security agencies. That is why this whole area has been cordoned off. Additional troops from the army, in fact, the paratroopers from the army had also been inducted in this operation, which is currently going on.